Hello, hello. I'm back home from Los Angeles, and maybe you noticed it last week and the week before, but I have been making, well, I called them friend episodes, but my boyfriend calls them walk-episodes. So I've decided November is just the month for walk-episodes, and that means I am in a really busy season as a CEO. I am the CEO of my company. I am also a shareholder in multiple companies. I have a personal brand, I have podcasts, my business runs in 2 languages, and on top of all of that, every day I want to get my steps in. But I have these podcasts to record, so you won't. Oh, there's a car coming. You'll hear it right now. In case you missed it in the previous 2 episodes, I am recording these podcasts whilst I am outside walking, going for a walk. So if that's annoying, maybe just skip all of the episodes from this month and go listen to some other episodes. But just let's just pretend it's just you and me. Where are you? Are you in your car? Are you walking? Are you doing the dishes? Are you trying to work? Multitasking doesn't really work. But I mean, if you're cooking or something, a podcast can be really nice to listen to. So first thing is I'm going to go and test and see if this audio is a little bit okay, because I think it's quieter here in my street than it was in LA, but I do want to test and see what I am subjecting you to. So hold on 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, that didn't sound too bad, so we are just going to dive in. Today, I want to talk to you about if you should do a Black Friday deal. And this episode is kind of like a no-fluff guide to making the right call. I'm recording this because I recently hosted a Black Friday and an SOS business class, which is something I do for all of my membership clients. And when I asked everyone who has done a Black Friday sale versus who's never done one, like 80% of them said they had never done a Black Friday sale. So that was quite interesting. And I was like, okay, so probably the biggest question people have is, should I do one? And if so, what should it be about? Maybe you can hear it in the background, though. By the way, I hear a dog barking, so I'm going to walk it the other way. I forgot that in my street there are a lot of dogs. So there goes my plan for the walk-episodes. But so I myself, I've done Black Friday and I've skipped Black Friday. And I remember one time I was coming home from a trip and I was at the airport, and all of a sudden I realized, oh my God, it's Black Friday. And I was just getting started with my online business, and I knew my best friend had set up her Black Friday sale weeks in advance. And all of a sudden I was like, shit, I should be doing this too. And I remember sitting right before my flight on the floor in the airport, quickly trying to set something up. And of course, that was not a big success, because no matter how big your following, how much experience, or how good your product is, if you don't prepare for it, it's not going to work. Like basically, anything that's worth your while in life or in business is going to require some type of preparation. And that's what I want to help you out with in this episode. Basically, just like figure out if you should jump on the Black Friday wagon, and if you should do it, or if you're going to do it, how to do it actually profitably. So, should you do a Black Friday deal? Here's how you can decide and plan for it like a boss. Let's dive in.
Hello, and welcome to Fail to Win, a show where we love to make mistakes and learn from them so you can turn your passion into profits and live life on your own terms. I'm Amy van der Putten from FastForwardAmy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode with simple strategies every Tuesday.
So Black Friday is a little bit of a beast, right? A lot of people love it if they've done it profitably in the past, but a lot of people are afraid of it too, because it seems really overwhelming. And I get that, because ads are more expensive, there's more and more noise. I read a stat as well that in Belgium, the 2024 Black Friday revenue went up 9% compared to the year before. So you and I were not the only ones thinking about Black Friday, prepping for it. But let's try and take some of the overwhelm out of this and help you decide and make a really clear yes or no decision. So I think the first question you're probably wondering about is, and again, if you hear some cars in the background, just pretend we're on a phone call like friends, yeah? So if I can crawl into your brain, you're probably thinking, should I do a Black Friday sale this year? I'm already so busy. I have so much going on, but I also don't want to miss out on the potential revenue, which I kind of get. It would be a shame to miss out on this. So, the times when I did do it, I often made the mistake of not prepping for it enough or doing it kind of like at the same time as I was doing something else, which kind of just confuses your audience. So I think it's really important to think about the time frame, because if you are doing a big launch and then all of a sudden you're also doing Black Friday and it's something completely different as a topic, it might really distract both you and your audience. But maybe you can make it fit. So let's look at a couple of signs that it's not meant for you. A sign that it's not meant for you could be found of, for example, if you're in the middle of a really big launch, that's probably not your best thing to distract from your launch if you would do something completely different. Something I have done, though, is just use the Black Friday period for a lead gen, so that the Black Friday period could be my lead gen for something else, like a webinar I would do after Black Friday, but before the end of the year. Still not easy, though. Still a really expensive time for your ads. But, distracting happens with your audience, but it could also happen just for you. Running 2 launches at the same time is just not easy. If you don't have any time to prepare for it, I would also advise against doing Black Friday, because, well, when you fail to plan, you kind of plan to fail. But I do have a little 7-day guide that you could use. I'll link it in the description of this episode. It's something I made for my clients. It's like 7 days to a Black Friday sale. Again, probably a bit late for you to get to it, but if you still want to do it, use that guide to kind of map out the perfect Black Friday sale. I'll link it in the description, or just message me BF25. So BF25 for the link to that little guide. If you're still testing out an offer, I wouldn't do that for Black Friday. So I have a lot of clients who come to me and they say, oh, I still haven't made my digital product. I'm thinking of releasing that on Black Friday. But you kind of have to know, if you still haven't made an online offer, you're going to use Black Friday as your testing ground. You're basically yelling, hey, buy my products, in like a really busy square where everyone is yelling, hey, buy my product. So in terms of testing, data gathering, getting feedback, this might not be your best time to gather feedback on something new, which is why I would use something you already have or something you've really, really created for your audience. I remember one of the creators I follow online, I think last year or the year before, they launched something and it went so well on their account for Black Friday, but it's also because they had done a lot of research and they were 100% certain this is what their audience wanted. And lastly, I wouldn't do it just because other people do. I know the feeling. I've been there, looking at everyone launching on Black Friday thinking, oh my God, I should also be doing this. But if you're launching at other times, if you have a solid business, like, you don't have to participate in Black Friday, okay? I do think there's a lot of opportunities there, especially for e-commerce, but you don't have to do it. Okay, that brings us to the next step. Just gonna see if my audio is still running. Is it? Yes, it is. We are winning. I'm really curious if people are going to completely hate me for these episodes or actually love it. So let me know, right? If you're listening to the walk-episodes, let me know. I'll test it for like 1 month and then I'll gather some feedback. I like it for myself because, for example, today I had a bit of a shitty day, some personal stuff that's happening. I'm not perfect, and, my life isn't always picture perfect either. And as a result, I slept in, which was good, taking care of myself, but I didn't move as much as I wanted to. And tonight I'm seeing my cousin and my nephews. So I was like, well, how else am I going to get my movement in today? And I mean, this might not work for everyone, right? But for me, I think sometimes we all try to really make our life fit our business. And I really believe that you have to make your business fit your life. So yeah, I would also say, and that's actually also one of the reasons why I've rarely really gone all in on Black Friday. I did a couple of times, is because the weekend of Black Friday, I'm always somewhere else with my dad. We drive a classic car rally that weekend usually, so it's never really the right time for me. But this year, I'm there, so I'm thinking I'm going to do something for Black Friday. So when to decide, yes, I want to do it? I would say there's two paths. Either you're saying, hey, Amy, I don't really have anything else going on right then, but I really want some extra cash flow. When you want some extra cash flow, that is a great time to do a proven product, a bundle, or a 1+1 offer. A couple of years ago, something I did, this is before I went really big on group coaching, or like courses actually. This was when I was still doing one-on-one and small group business coaching. What I did for Black Friday is I had done a call with me 1+1. So calls with me were, I think, 500 euros at the time. So I basically gave people 2 calls for the price of 1 call, which was, pretty solid deal. Here there are a couple of decisions that you have to take into account of which deal you're choosing. This really depends on your goal. So the second type of path or goal you can choose is you want new leads. So for me, Black Friday will not be a massive cash flow generator. My business is not set up for that. We have other stuff going on. We literally have my event at the beginning of that week. So the way I'm thinking, and I'm still deciding right now actually, is that I would mostly use it to do a little bit of a flash sale for clients who've never followed coaching from me. So if you want new leads, for example, and you're thinking, well, I have all of these new followers. One of my clients, she just grew 3,000 followers in 2 weeks since she started following my program, the Authority Accelerator. And she was like, well, I have so many new followers. So what do I do with them? Do I do a big sale or something small? And I told her, well, if you have a lot of new leads, they still have to get trust. So it might be a really great opportunity to offer something low ticket, high value, so that they are really happy. People have a little bit of a dipping their toe into the pool, and they can get to know you, your way of teaching, and that might get them ready to buy something bigger from you. So creating a no-brainer offer, digital product, something smaller bundle could be a really, really great thing to do here. So decide what you want. I will say, whenever my clients ask me questions about Black Friday, like, should I do this? Should I do that? I always ask them, what is your goal? So for example, yesterday, someone came to me, my business club, which is my membership for entrepreneurs. We have like start, scale, lead levels in that from people. Literally, we have people making their first 30 euros from a digital product all the way up to making $1 million. And so this person, she's still fairly new, and she came to me, she said, well, I want to get followers because I only have 270 followers, and I want to get warm leads. And I was like, well, you're going to have to choose one thing. You're going to have to tell me what is the one thing you want to accomplish with your Black Friday sale, and then we can work backwards from that. But if you have the goal of attracting new followers and warming them up, we're talking a whole different game, and it's just really difficult to do those things at the same time. It doesn't mean you can't do it at the same time, but for an inexperienced entrepreneur, I would say really make that decision. And I would say for Black Friday, not necessarily the time to get new leads in, as in attract new followers, but it is the time for either a cash flow injection or to turn your followers into hot leads who will buy more and more from you in the future. So we already talked. Cash flow, I would say if you want to do high cash flow, go for something that has already proven itself, maybe a DIY of your flagship offer, a really good deal on something people already know, trust, and like. Or, like a 1+1 or something. And if you want new leads, I would, and by new leads, I mean new warm leads, new hot leads. I would say create a really no-brainer intro offer or a digital product. But really, take this from me. Don't try to do both, okay? Because it will fail. What you can do is you can also use Black Friday as a downsell after a bigger launch with something that ties into that, or as a pre-sell before a bigger launch. Yeah, you can do that. And as I said, I also sometimes just did not even do Black Friday and just did lead gen throughout that period. So here are a couple of offer ideas that will not undermine your brand, right? So a lot of people are afraid and they say, oh, Amy, I don't like Black Friday because, I really don't want to do any crazy discounts. And I get that. So what you could do is you could stack some bonuses instead of having price cuts. So offer some extras that are only available right then and there. Limited access offered. So doing something that's usually not even available. Last year, one of my e-commerce clients, she launched a holiday box, and I think she launched it on Black Friday, and it was only available then. So limited time offer is really good. Or adding extra bonuses. So for example, instead of giving the first thing I said. So instead of giving really big discounts, what you could say is with your Black Friday purchase, you're going to get this bonus extra, and that's only something you can get right now. Or, and this is something I am actively considering right now, you can look at your premium offers and identify what in that premium offer is really, really solid and people really love, and take that little piece out of your premium offer and turn that into a micro offer. And what that does is, let's say if I do that, so I have this 100K template, that's part of my 5K program. And that means, it's a template that can show you how to make 100,000 in the upcoming year. When I offer that and people buy that, let's say for 100 euros, this is something I'm actually considering doing, then I can actually use that as an identification tool to see who's warm and who might be ready to buy later. Because someone who's just getting started is probably not going to buy that, right? But someone who's wanting to make 100,000 will see that, wow, it's only 100 euros to buy that whole thing and the training. And I already have the template and I can just make a loom and that's done. That's a really, really solid offer. And by doing that, I'm identifying who are potential leads that I can then teach more inside of my more expensive offer. So I could do this as a little identification tool. And that's why I said you could use this as a downsell or a pre-sell offer as well. Now, there are a couple of mistakes you should really avoid. So the first one is don't do what I did, aka decided the night before or the day of, sitting on the floor of the airport. Shit's going to go wrong. People are not going to be warmed up. You're not going to be warmed up. And it's just going to be a hassle. Also, don't be vague. With Black Friday, there's so much noise. Every year, it's starting sooner and sooner. People's inboxes just flood. So if you do want to stand out, not only should your offer be good, but you should also make it really, really clear when it's happening. Like, when can people expect what information from you? One of my clients who followed my Business Freedom Elevator, which is my flagship program, which is another idea I'm entertaining, she always launches at midnight. So for Black Friday, obviously, I already know, without even knowing her launch timeline, she's going to be launching Thursday evening, midnight, because that's how she always does it. So she's kind of trained her clients to do that as well. And it has to be really, really clear what you're doing then and there. Something else I would say that I would advise against is diluting your authority by basically discounting your flagship offers. So for example, one of my programs is the Authority Accelerator, which is about how to become an authority. And it's not a cheap program. It's also not a beginner program. So I wouldn't really put that in there. I've just launched it as at a premium positioning. So I wouldn't go and launch that at a very low rate. One, I just sold it, would be really annoying for the people who just paid more for it. I mean, theoretically, I could launch it as a DIY, but it will still be running live. And I don't want to dilute the authority of that program. Now, on the other hand, my old flagship course that over 1,500 people have followed, that has a lot of reviews, authority, it's just sitting there and I'm rarely, selling it actively. I could really do that because that could be a really good cash flow thing. And then one more thing, this is valid actually for every single launch you do, but always test your tech stack. Always make sure you test all of the links, the checkouts, the bonuses, because one, it's the weekends. I don't like to work all the ways during the weekends. Two, there is so much noise that if you want to get people then and there, you're going to make sure they're actually going to buy from you. So there's a couple of alternatives too. If you're not feeling like you want to do Black Friday, you want to do something else, you could. I will also say, this is also a mistake I often see people make, is they start making it way too complicated. They're like, oh, I'm anti-Black Friday. Okay, you're anti-price competition. Then don't do that. Do something else. But if it's an opportunity for you and your business, you decide. There's a couple of really nice alternatives. Pink Friday is a week before. Support female-owned local businesses. Love that. I often have clients do something the week before, maybe something smaller or bigger, and then Black Friday is the downsell or upsell. Small Business Saturday is the day after Black Friday. Really love that. Highly recommend you go and shop at local businesses that Saturday. I think we really have to continue to shop local. A lot of people, like 80% of people, will shop online with Black Friday, but I feel as entrepreneurs, we have to put that out there. If we stop shopping local, there's not going to be any local businesses left. Another alternative could be the lead gen campaign that I talked to you about. You could just be promoting your webinar or whatever. And also something you could be doing, this is something I've also done with one of my businesses, is really use that weekend as an option to go viral. So for example, because I have businesses that focus on entrepreneurship, I'll share something on there that's about shopping local. So on Pink Friday, I can share that I now have an Instagram account that's all about becoming your own boss or being your own boss. So obviously I can make some quote posts about that, and they would go very, very viral on those days. So I have a couple of practical steps for you to start right now. But first, I want to remind you that I made a little mini guide that has your 7-day, 7 steps plan to a Black Friday flash sale. I would go and download that. It has the dates, the times, what you should do when, if you're doing it, how to decide your offer, a couple of examples. It's really, really good and short and sweet, and you can print it out and use it forever. Just message me BF25 on Instagram on FastForwardAmy, or click the link in the description. And then just basically to recap, we have the steps here. Let me grab my piece of paper. So first, identify your goal, because you can't do it all at the same time. Then choose the right offer type that ties into that goal and decide what you're doing. Is it a discount? Is it a bonus? Is it a bundle? And then you want to set your timeline, and you're going to have to get started on content. But what I see a lot of people all do, basically always when launching, they immediately want to go to the content plan. But you cannot make your content plan, or your content for that matter, if you don't have a grip on your timeline, your milestones, your decisions. It's really hard to write an email if you don't know what the price is going to be or the bonus. So make sure you make your decisions first and you create after. So remember, as we wrap up, you don't have to do Black Friday. But if you do, do it with purpose and intention, and make sure you plan according. So plan accordingly. That's what I wanted to say. So the description, what am I going to say? I'm still jet lagged. My words are like blur, blur, blur. If you want the exact plan that you can implement, it's in the description of this episode, or message me BF25. Make sure you go and grab that. That's worth a lot of money if you actually apply it. And yeah, if you want to create your offer together, inside of my online business club membership, I actually hosted an entire masterclass on how to do Black Friday. So I'll also link my membership in the discount, because in my membership, you learn all about this stuff on time, right? We did that masterclass way before it was time to do Black Friday, so my clients could actually prepare for it smartly. And we're always doing really fun shit. At the end of the year, we get ready for the new year. Beginning of the year, we do a challenge. It's really, really good if you're starting or scaling your online business. The Online Business Club is the place to be, and I'll link that starter level in the description. And if you have any questions whatsoever about working together in the upcoming year, just send me a message on Instagram. I don't bite, and I love helping you create an online business. The fact that I can create a podcast episode about something like a Black Friday sale whilst walking, I think that shows you how much I love this shit. And I love helping people to make money. So just shoot me a message if you're interested, and good luck on your Black Friday sale. Bye.